Tell me what you're doing out here.
Prostituting.
And how long you been doing it for?
Since I was 19. I'm 40 years old now. I was really hooked on really bad needle drugs, Dilaudid. But then I went on the methadone program. But then when I was on the methadone program, I got kind of hooked on some other stuff. So I've been having a hard time with that.
What are you hooked on now?
I smoke.
Crack?
Yeah. But it's not always like for just crack. I do it like to feed myself. I do it for cigarettes and stuff like that. So I just, support myself that way. And a lot of people think that we enjoy what we do. Like we get off on it. Like when we get off, like a lot of them think that when we're having sex that we enjoy having sex with all these guys. But I really don't. I try to stay away from the sex. I try to just stick with the oral sex.
What's your motivation for standing out here?
Crack. Oh, crack. It's a deadly drug, and I don't wish it upon anybody.
So where do you smoke your crack at?
I smoke it at home, unfortunate. I have no heat or hydro.
How long you been smoking for?
9 years.
Are there any other prostitutes out here like yourself, or just you?
Yeah, there's a few of us out here. It's hard. Competition's hard.
Lots of action?
Not lately, but yeah, we get by anyway. Are you guys interested or what?
Sorry, no.
I hear you. I gotta go. I gotta make some business there.
Just before I turned 19, that is when I started working. And when it came into becoming one of the call girls, that was a lot more challenging. It was scary at first. I'm very thankful for the first client that I had because he made it easy. And then after that, it was just something that you became accustomed to.
I have worked probably in about 7 different massage parlors. The longest run of one was about 6 years. I worked out of apartments, in hotels, out of my car, in strip joints. And I've done the math, and it's been about 10,000 men. And 10,000 men have used my body. And there's reciprocation for that. There's physical issues that happen to your body whether you want it to or not. I mean, you wear the walls thin inside yourself. The addiction of the pills have ruined my insides. I'm getting kidney infections all the time. I have problems, going to the bathroom, all kinds of stuff.
Back then I was proud. I was okay to say, look, I'm an escort because I pretty much own my own company. I set my own hours, I make money. I made more money than most people that I knew who were actually working 9 to 5, and I still got to be a mom. This escort license does not give you the right to say, I'm paying for sex, because it's not, because prostitution is illegal. Companionship is not. So when you say it is this amount of money and you meet in the hotel room, it's not guaranteed you're gonna get sex. Most of the time they do. I've never been a part of the street world, but from what I've seen, the street world is very unsafe. There are so many uncertainties. You don't know. First of all, we can start off with it's illegal. If you get picked up by the police, let's go on the number of fines that you can get and the charges and stuff like that and spend your time in jail. As soon as that happens to one of those ladies and they get a charge with prostitution, they are automatically disqualified from being able to obtain a license. When you're working on the street, you have no idea whose car you're getting into. You have no idea where you're going. Nobody knows where you are. You're now untraceable.
What's your first name?
Lee.
How much money do you make in a night?
I could make up to $1,600, sometimes $2,500. I don't go with anybody that I think that would endanger me or
How can you tell?
clean cut people, good jobs. Sometimes they are wackos. I stopped going to other people's houses. I've had problems. Canadian soldiers, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Well, the Canadian soldier took me back to his house with another Canadian soldier waiting, and they raped me and left me for dead.
How long you been working tonight?
I just came out now.
Okay, so we're the first people that you've talked to
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
What kind of mindset do you have to have getting into a car with somebody?
I figure, I don't know how the girls do it high. I think you have to be very straight. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta be prepared for the worst. And I've had to jump out of cars, moving cars, running cars, been left many places.
How many of prostitutes would you say are out at any given time?
Sometimes I think there was like 9 of us out at once. I know every one of them.
How do you know them?
I just know them. I used to sell drugs years ago.
Okay.
I sold them 19 years. My brother was killed. I got into them for about a year. It's not me. I don't like it. It's terrible. I don't even know how they function.
Out of those 9, how many would you say are doing drugs?
All of them.
And you said you had kids?
I have 7.
What do you think they'd say if they found out you were doing this?
I think one or two of my daughters have an idea, but they don't say nothing. They just say, "Mom, I hope you're not doing that. That's gross." You know what I mean? My kids are all successful, basketball scholarships.
So at the end of the day, why are you doing it?
Another reason, I have certificates. I'm PSW, RN, 5 years law.
Yeah.
I got charged 13 years ago. 2 attempted murders, so it's on my record. It's hard to go anywhere. It was self-defense.
Okay.
The government only gave the man that killed my brother 4 months in prison. I swore I wouldn't pay the government another $1 to my name. I wouldn't give him $1. So if I work, I don't have to give him $1, you know? It's fast, easy. I don't have to listen to nobody. No one tells me what to do. Know anything about the streets, I can tell you it all. All of it.
You know, being in this industry, if you're not already a drug addict, you quickly become one. You have to numb yourself in order to do the things that you're doing. You know, for me, I had children and I felt dirty already, you know, coming home to my kids. I couldn't kiss them, I couldn't comfort them. So the kids suffered. I mean, they were there through all the abuse. You know, my daughter tells me how I took her to work with me. And those are things that I don't remember from being so drugged up. But it's like, wow, it was so normal for Mommy to be a hooker.
She was really the only one taking care of us. It wasn't like we had a father who was there. Growing up, she told us that she did nails for a living. So that's what we told people when they asked what our mom did. And I remember lying in bed one night and she was either on the phone with someone or she was talking to her boyfriend and speaking about a client. And I don't remember what it was she said, but I, in that moment, realized that she hadn't been telling us the truth about what she actually did as a living. And I think more than anything, because I don't think I understood what it was that she did yet, I just didn't understand why Mom lied to me, and that kind of like upset me and made me a little scared of like why she would lie to me. I started to understand what it was that she did, and for me that was really hard. I started to feel like even more of a burden because I didn't want my mom to be doing that because I valued her and I loved her and respected her, and it broke my heart that that's the way that she took care of us. And I wished that I could support our family or take care of our family, but I was in school. Eventually, she ended up having 2 more children, so my little brothers, and I started helping taking care of them, so there was no time for me to work and try to take care of myself at least, so I wasn't adding more pressure.
Stopped there and said, "How much are you gonna give me for me and your wife?" Me and my wife. I said $100. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Get in." So I go to get in. He goes, "Guess what? We're the cops. You're under arrest for prostitution." I go, "I knew you were the cops. I didn't really care." You know what I'm saying? I called my lawyer. I said, "Some guy picks me up. I knew he was a cop. I told him I didn't want to get arrested because I knew he was a cop, but he arrested me anyway." So they did that anyway. Babe, get a cigarette, hon? I need a cigarette so bad I'm gonna friggin' freeze. Sex, blowjob, the whole deal, $100. $40 for a blowjob, $40 for sex, either or. Other than that, $100. There's a motel room that costs you $20. Yeah, that's where I usually take all my customers.
You ever get scared working out here?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What's the worst part?
The worst part is cops.
Yeah.
Cops driving back and forth. I'm not even allowed to wind up right now.
Other than cops, I mean, you're putting yourself on the line here. You're at
I don't
risk.
get scared. I've been working here for about 10 years. I used to be really skinny with long blonde hair before my husband died. Then my husband died and I started eating food to come, to satisfy my craving for missing him. I gained 100 pounds after he died. So
How much money are you making a night?
I make about, I don't know, $400, $500 a night.
What do you spend it on?
Crack.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I go and smoke crack. I make 40 bucks with my girlfriend. She gives me a piece, I smoke it, and that's about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you ever try to get help?
Oh yeah, I'm not addicted to it. I work in the Legion in Harrow. I'm a bartender. I work Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't come up here unless for about 1 week. One out of a night out of a week. Other than that, I don't sit there and crave crack. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Have yourself a nice night, guys.
Okay, you too.
Okay, hon. Bye, hon.
A lot of mental training to say, okay, I can do it. It was easier to do because I had been raped several times in the past. And so having somebody like that coming on top of me, it was a little bit easier to deal with than I think if that hadn't happened before, because I was able to go to a place that was in my own mind. And it was a fantasy world in my head. That even though I was acting, there was times that I would walk out of that room, be on my way home, and all of a sudden be like, oh my goodness, where was I? Because I literally blacked out for that whole entire time, that it just didn't seem real, that part.
Girls are coming from backgrounds of abuse and sexual exploitation already, so these things again are instilled into you very young. So you don't have that self-worth. You don't have the healthy mind. So when the girls say, it's a choice, I'm here because I want to do this. Ask them about their background. Ask them what's happened to them before they ever entered into this industry. And every single one of them will tell you there's been some sort of abuse. The way that you would conceptualize things or see things are different from the normal person. So it kind of makes it okay. It's a path that you already know. It's something that you feel is the only thing that you're good at.
Trying to think back and even talking over stuff with my mom, is I don't remember a lot. And it wasn't even that I was really, really young. I just think when things are kind of traumatizing, your mind just blocks things out. I remember not having a lot of friends over, just because my mom was always sleeping during the day, or I didn't want to be too loud, or it just wasn't really a friendly environment to have kids over, and my mom wasn't like other people's moms, so.
What's the most popular misconception people have about prostitution?
That we're just out here for drugs. That we're just out here for a good time, party. When it's just survival. Trying to get by. It's not a party. It's not a... I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I was 16. I didn't even know what a social insurance number was. And I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. I didn't know anything, so...
Yeah.
I worked the street to get a McDonald's in my belly,
What's the most you can make in a day or in a night?
Oh God, what I used to make compared to now, because I'm older. God, I used to make lots of money. We'd be hanging out all over. Now I just run to the dope dealers and get whatever drugs and any money I can get. Some days are good and some aren't. Like these nights, Sunday night, it's not too good out here.
Have you ever tried to get help for drug use?
I'm ready. I'm about ready to do it now.
What would you have to do? I mean...
What would I have to do?
Yeah.
I'd have to leave my situation. My family. There's me, my sister, and her daughter. And we all use, yeah.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you while you were on the job?
Probably being gang raped. About 7 guys. Maybe a gun to the head. Yeah, I've been beaten.
What do you do to make sure you're keeping safe? I mean, you don't want to get a disease or anything.
I just use condoms, even giving a blowjob. They offer more money to go without, but I don't, I like to think I love myself a little. might not show it.
What kind of hours do you usually work doing this?
Oh, lately, long hours. I work every day.
Yeah.
I'm always on call. I always work.
Yeah.
Always. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm working. Yeah.
So have you ever been arrested doing this?
I have. I've got, I think, 9 or 10 charges. I've just had house arrest. I've just about done it. And I got caught working again. So they took my house arrest away and I finished my time in jail. And now I'm on probation. Recently, I think I've discovered that I think the streets got me. Yeah. I think they got me. It takes everything.
Yeah.
Everything from me.
You ever get scared getting into a car with a guy?
No. No. I have to. I gotta do it. Sometimes I wish it would happen.
Wish what would happen?
They just, I don't know. It would just end, But fast. I don't want to go slow. Yeah.
Just walking.
How long you been doing it for?
A couple months. I have a drug addiction.
Tell me a little bit about your drug addiction.
I do morphine. I started after I had my son. I can't even talk about it. It's hard. I don't know.
How old's your son?
I have 3 kids actually.
You seem a little young. How old are you?
23.
Well, how did you get involved in drugs in the first place?
I used oxys actually. After I had my son, I sniffed an oxy and it was done from there, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Do you got anybody who takes care of you out here, or are you on your
No,
own?
I'm on my own.
Would you ever want to get help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever tried?
I've been in detox, but I'd have to be out of the city to get help.
You ever been arrested?
Yeah, but not for this.
No. What would you get arrested for?
It was a theft under. Like, it wasn't even like I've never been in trouble in my life. Like, I'm not a bad person or nothing, but it was just like a theft under. It was like a promise to appear. That was all it was. It wasn't nothing like I've never been in jail or nothing.
So you said you have 3 kids. How old are they?
5, 4, and 2.
Who's looking after them right now?
They're their dads. There's cops right there, see?
Sadly, those are the women who were charged with something in the past and were unable to obtain a license from the city of Windsor. Or they could have just been somebody who didn't want to get a license, but again, they had a pimp and maybe they forced him to. On the street is a completely different way of life, completely different stories from those women compared to what they are for the escort. Because like I said, doing the escorting thing, that was my choice. Working out on the street, that may not have been my choice, but if I owed my coke dealer money, my coke dealer is gonna say, guess where you're going? Or you know what, I know somebody else who's gonna pay it, and that's what's gonna happen. And sadly, those women could have been forced into it. Some of them could have made their choice to do it that way and then got caught because they didn't know that they could have a license. You have to remember too, they're not being tracked. Nobody knows that these people are doing it. You have no clue if it's your next door neighbor that's walking the streets doing it because she doesn't have a license. The government is saying you want to be an escort, you want to be a sex trade worker, however, you can't get a license, so guess where you're stuck working now is on the street. How fair is that to them? Because that's going to be the girl you're going to read up on that got taken in a car and was dumped in an alley somewhere, set on fire somewhere. You're going to hear about more of those ladies. Those are the ones that are trying to work to get their drugs. Those are the ones that want the money and they're not thinking about their safety. Sadly, when you're addicted to some sort of drug like that, crack, cocaine, meth, anything like that, you are going to put all of your common sense on the back burner because the only thing you're thinking about is your next high, your next fix. You're not thinking about safety. You're not thinking about food or anything. All you want is to get high.
I would see these guys come in and they would want more. They would want, you know, more for less money, or they would try to do things to the girls, and I watched a lot of guys beat up girls like men. You know, for me personally, I was anally raped in the industry. I had my jaw dislocated. I was spit on. You know, I've had my hair pulled. I've been smashed into walls. You know, the violence, it's there. I mean, you are in a place where men really don't see you as human. You're just disposable. I always tell people that the prostitutes are a hole. That's it. It's a place for a guy to get off. He doesn't care who you are, where you come from, what's going on. He just wants to get off. The girls who are on the street, we usually call them, you know, lower level because they are at the bottom. A lot of girls that I know who've been in the brothels, you know, everybody starts off with good intentions. You know, I'm going to make some quick money, I'm going to put myself through school, all of the above. And then once you're there and the money, and then you start seeing what's happening and the drugs come and you have to numb yourself. So I've seen girls come into the brothel who are, I mean, they're well dressed, they're well spoken, they seem like they have it together, and now they're working downtown. A lot of girls can't stay in this industry with a level head. So the more the drugs come and there's partying with clients in the room, a lot of clients bring drugs in for you. Sometimes that's your tip, you know, so they end up really at the bottom. They're doing the crack and they're doing, you know, meth, and they're smoking all kinds of stuff, and they end up on the street. There was one point that I was making $5,000 a week. You know, that's $20,000 a month. That's a lot of money. You're not gonna get that kind of money from working in a normal job. And a lot of these girls don't have an education, so you're not gonna be an executive, or you're not going to work in something that doesn't pay you minimum wage. So, you know, to make that kind of money is just like, wow, you know, it gives you a little bit of power that you can buy whatever you need to buy. So, you know, the problem with making cash money, first and foremost, is you don't know how to save. You don't know how to budget. You'll say, oh, I can just spend $1,000 right now because I'm making it tomorrow. So what's the big deal? And this is a lot of what's happened. I mean, I have nothing to show for it. I probably was a millionaire at one point, and I have nothing to show from all the money that's been through my hands. There's a concept in your head where you know this is dirty money, so you want to get it out of your hand as fast as you can. It's always the money that keeps you there.
Okay, well, I moved down here from Sudbury. My whole family lives there. I just got caught up in the mix, I guess, pretty much.
What do you mean by the mix?
Well, you know, started getting into drugs and stuff like that, and then obviously need to support your habit, or just, I used to work at a restaurant, for like 8 years when I was younger. I'm 29 now, so probably all my 20s I worked at a restaurant. And then I came down here when I was 28 and just started working.
And how long you been doing this?
About a year now.
Yeah. And do you ever get scared?
Yeah, a lot of the time. There's some guys that'll pick you up and they're really scary. Either they don't have money, they drive you somewhere where you don't really know where you are, and they'll kind of throw you out of the car. Well, you try to get out when they don't have money and they always want something. Other times it's good. I mean, I've had people give me $200 just for something simple like a blowjob.
Tell me about your education. You said you had a journalism background.
Yeah, I have a journalism diploma and I wrote a story for my school's paper because we obviously wrote for the paper and stuff like that just to give us experience. And I wrote a story about another program called Nature-Based Adventure Tourism. And so instead of going into communications like I was supposed to at the university, because it's your direct entry and you only have 2 years left, I just did that course for another 2 years and wasn't really able to find a job in my field up there, and I just came down here just to check it out. But
You talked about getting caught up in the whole drug lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about that.
I don't know, like there's a lot of drugs obviously in Windsor, and you know, when you're doing drugs and stuff like that, you're not thinking clearly and you make bad decisions typically.
Yeah? What kind of drugs?
I don't know, usually crack. Just girls usually, they make money, then they go buy drugs, and they come back out again, make money, go buy drugs.
How many other girls do you see out here on the streets?
Honestly, I don't see very many around here. I know that they're out here, I just might not be out here at the same times, and I don't really associate with them, so.
The scariest thing that's ever happened to you while you're doing this job?
Got punched out a few times by the guys. They don't want you to leave. Having my clothing ripped. I've been taken to apartments where there was more than one guy and did not know that that was going to happen. They all want you to do something with them, but none of them have money, or they just think that they can do whatever they want because you're working, right?
You ever been arrested?
Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
I was arrested for assault. Right now I'm on assault charges. One of my clients pulled a knife on me, so I did assault him, but basically it was self-defense. I mean, he was trying to assault me first.
So what do the cops say if they see you walking the streets?
I'm not really known around these areas too much because I'm not from here, but I'm sure they're going to start saying something to me soon.
What would you say to a young person who was considering this lifestyle?
Well, the upsides are you make easy money and you don't have to get up for work early. You get to do work whenever you want.
The first time you ever did it, I mean, was that the hardest? What was that like?
The first time? No, not really. I was actually really happy because I got money that, you know what I mean, I wasn't used to making that kind of money in that amount of time. Yeah. There's people looking out the windows and shit like that, so.
This is all they know. That's it. You know, there's no, retirement package for a hooker. Nothing. So what are they going to do? You know, that was always my biggest fear of, what am I going to do when I'm 40? What am I going to do when I'm 50? Oh my God, I'm going to have to up my game. I'm going to have to do things I never would have wanted to do. I'm going to have to do things cheaper. But this was my mindset. I was planning my future. I didn't see that, hey, you could go and do something else with your life. And I hear it from girls all the time. What am I going to do? You know, nobody wants them. You're 30 years old now and you're going to go back to school. Come on. It's really hard. It's really, really hard to do. You come out of this industry and they say the age you go in is the age that your mind stops. And I believe it. Because you come out, you have no social skills because your whole crowd of friends have been the sex industry. Everybody you talk to, it's about sex. Everything is for sex. So when you come out and you're put into a normal world, you don't even know how to hold a conversation. You have slang from being in the industry, so everybody's baby or love or honey. You can't address the normal world like that. So a lot of girls just feel scared. You don't feel like you're going to ever fit in. You know, it was really hard for me when I came out to kind of lose that edge, no filter, no nothing. I mean, I still have it, and it's under control now, but I think it's etched in me, and there'll be things that I'll never feel completely normal.
What's it like out here on the street?
There's a lot of nice people that are nice and caring, and then there's a lot of weirdos and stuff. There's some really mean people out here too that'll threaten you and give you a hard time or rip you off.
How much money do you make in a night, Susan?
The most I could make, maybe the most is maybe 300 the most, but I gotta go through the day through that. But so, that's the most I could make.
So you've been in trouble with the police before? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've been arrested for this probably like, I don't know, maybe 20 times in my time.
And what do they do when they arrest you?
Sometimes you get a fine, sometimes you get jail time. The most I got was 6 weeks, but that was because I didn't do a pre-probation report. So she made me sitting there for 6 weeks, and then I got a fine for it.
You see a lot of other prostitutes out here, Susan?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and there are not too many decent ones. Like a lot of them rip people off, and there's like a few that might do their job like decent, like I do, like where we don't rip people off and we do what we do.
You spend a lot of time in the Drouillard Road area. Tell me why.
Well, I guess Wyandotte Street got too hot, so I guess people started it doing there, but I didn't start it. It just started happening.
What would you tell a young girl who was 18 years old and she was thinking about becoming a prostitute? What would you say to her?
She don't want to come out here. I mean, it's quick money and that sometimes, but it's not the greatest money sometimes. Like, you could make good money, and then other times you might make fair money. But I would tell her not to do it, because, you know, there's risks. You know, people could hurt you, or you could even get murdered, or anything could happen. Get hooked on drugs. That's what happened to me. I left home because I was having problems with my boyfriend, and I went out, and then I was hitchhiking on Wyandotte, and the guy wanted to party, and I guess I got hooked on it.
You think you'll ever get off the street?
Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll get off it eventually, because I was off it for quite a while there when I went on the meth program.
Susan, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I hope everything works out.
Susan, I hope everything works out for you.
Yeah, I hope so too. Good luck on that.
I get anxiety very often, and I could be just standing out in the street, and sometimes I could get a flashback or see somebody that I thought may have been a client. I used to be known by one name, but now that I'm this name and I deal with the public, what happens if somebody recognizes me? My view for men, I think they're great as friends, but when it comes to being lovers and emotional, you are an alien to me. It's very foreign to be in love with somebody and to have to give them you and do those sexual acts that he's expecting you to make love to him. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, hurry up and get off. That's it. Because sex means nothing to me. It doesn't. That's why I have a hard time having sex with my husband. And he tries to say I love you or go to kiss me because, ew, you don't love me. I cannot connect that way. We are in such a problem with that we had even discussed him going to see somebody to take care of his problems sexually. The one girl that people used to come to get that feeling from that their wives couldn't do, I am not able to do in my own personal life because of the job that I chose.
She got out of the business in 2008, I believe, when I was off at college, and she called me and told me over the phone. And she told me that I was one of the first people she wanted to tell, because she knew how like proud I would be. I would never want anybody to have to go through what she went through, but now that she has, she can help so many more people. She is so different. I always wish that people could have met my mom before and meet her now. Our relationship is actually a relationship, and she feels like my mom.
Coming out of the industry for a lot of women is really, really hard. It was extremely hard for me. And I struggled for years of not wanting to go back. And in the moments of, not going back were the realization that I was speaking for other women now, and I was helping other women, and I was advocating for the voiceless. But there was still that thing in my head that was like, okay, if things don't work out, you can go back. When does that stop? For some women, it doesn't. I made an appointment with one of my old customers. And I remember driving to that hotel and thinking, Kat, if you get caught, all the girls that you've gave hope to are going to be ruined. And I kept thinking, but I have no choice. It was like that devil on my back. There was the fight between who I used to be and who I was. And when I sat on that bed in the hotel, sitting next to this customer and looking at him, and everything started whipping through my head. And I knew that if I did this, I wasn't going to come back this time. That I would have gone full throttle and I probably would have been dead. And I just said to him, I can't do it. And I walked out. And that was the moment of realization that I knew that I was free. Free in that aspect, but not free. I don't think that I'm really going to be free of my memories and the dreams that I have for the rest of my life. I believe that these women have post-traumatic stress disorder. I dream every single night.
And taking girls and boys.
I advocate because I want people to know the truth. I want people to know that it isn't like the client list on TV. It isn't like Pretty Woman, and it's not what the media portrays it to be. These are human beings. I want people to know that. I want to be a voice for these girls who can't speak up for themselves. The most rewarding part is when I see a girl who does make it. When I get that phone call and she wants to talk and she wants out. And I help her and I walk with her and I get her out. That's the rewarding part. We don't have second stage housing. First stage housing, you're allowed to keep these girls for 3 days. What do you do in 3 days? In 3 days, these girls are so mentally messed up that they're either just sleeping or crying. And then after 3 days, where do you put them? In a shelter? These girls are not going to stay in a shelter. There's nobody to teach these girls the things that they need to know in order to get back into society. They need to know social skills. They need to learn self-worth. They need to learn how to write resumes, apply for jobs, dress. I had the hardest time knowing how to put an outfit together because I was so used to the scandalous clothing that I was wearing. People take it for granted. You're going to get out, and that's it. You're going to be fine. The damage goes so deep. They need something here. My dream is to have a second stage safe house to where I can have these girls stay and help them get up on their feet. I'm going to keep advocating and I'm going to keep fighting for these girls. I am getting married. I never would have thought that I would find somebody that just got it, who doesn't see me as I knew me. They see me now and they see me as a different woman. And they don't care about my past. And they just accept that. So that's where I'm heading. I'm going to get married and I'm going to keep fighting for what I believe in. And I'm going to hopefully be able to change the world and their mindset of what they think prostitution really is.
take a picture.
You sure?
Look, you can take a picture.
Okay, okay.
Me sucking your dick, you can take a picture. It's my birthday. Look, don't disrespect me like that.
Where I was going into the pharmacy getting my drink and showing them how I did it. And then after that, I had an interview with the undercovers.
What's new since the last time we talked to you? It was about February, so how's life been?
Well, the only thing that's really been new is that I got my hair cut. So there you go. Now you know I'm different there. Probably nothing really has changed too much. It's pretty well the same. You know.
Yep.
I guess the only difference is the weather. Going out a lot at nighttime and that, and early in the morning and that, and then when daytime came, I would basically just sleep in that, because in the daytime they don't really like it when you go out because of the children and that, and kids going to school, and you know, they'd rather, if we do it, they'd rather see us going out at nighttime and stuff. I'm on probation right now, so I don't know if I let you know if I was in court, but I'm on probation, and I got 6 months it was. So I should be done in August it is. Or sometimes, you know, just walking around for hours because they can't get picked up. Like say at nighttime and that on a weekday. Even there's a day where you would think that there's a lot of guys out and it's on a Saturday night. The longest I'd probably say that I was out walking around was for 4 hours straight, back and forth. I love this weather.
Short hair looks a lot better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Susan.
Take care, hon.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.